my week just to give you some inspiration.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 108 of Cali Brick Clique. And remember, you can find this episode and our previous episodes. Oh my gosh, this lisp is so bad. Sorry, everyone. I have Invisalign in my mouth and I can't take it out. But you can find this episode and our previous episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, wherever. And like always, we have Claire, the Plastic Architect.
Hello.
We have Ninja and his chain.
Even with the Invisalign, professional.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, bro. And this time, welcome back. Different name, Dani Bob Studios. How's it going?
What's going on? It's going really good. Same me. Different name, same me.
It's been like a year since we had you on.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while.
A lot has changed since. I think.
Yes.
I don't remember like when exactly you came on, but it was definitely a year. So let's just get right to you. How have you been? What's been going on? Oh, wait, hold on. Before that, I have a question I need to get off my chest. Just to you right now. Were you a performer at one point in your life?
No.
The only reason why I ask is because, one, your facial expressions are very, like, animated. So that's one.
I don't know how that happened.
Two, you know how to turn and not flex your foot. You're pointing. So I'm like, okay, she might have something to it.
My turn?
Yeah. So when you spin, like when you it's like a pirouette or like, you know, when you do something like that requires you to dance and you move, like your feet aren't flexed. So it looks like there's some sort of training in that. So I don't know.
When did you see me turn with my foot not flexed?
I don't know. I remember you were dancing in some of your videos and you just spin. And then when you're spinning, your foot is not flexed. It's only reason I asked because like I kind of kept that in my head like a while back, and then like when you do something, I try to take note of it. I just wanted to know if you ever performed like dance or anything like that in your life.
Dancer
well, I forgot. Yeah, I did do dance for a couple of years.
Oh my gosh!
There it is.
When I was little.
Doesn't matter. It's still there.
Little.
He knew.
And it was.
He's like,
I knew it.
It was ballet. I was really little. It was ballet. And jazz and tap and hip hop for 3 years.
One little video and Shy figured that out.
Yeah, what the heck, Shy? Are you Detective Shy here? I'm analyzing the way your foot turns.
But also, like, okay, let's get a little bit. We can also find a little bit more about Dani here. You know, you also play sports. A lot of them are balance sports where you have to have like agility, right? And I think a lot of those, so it's she has control over where her center of gravity is, right? Because you do wakeboarding and snowboarding or skiing.
Snowboarding, wake surfing, right? I did ice hockey, rowing, which required a lot of balance in the hips.
There you go, lots of balance.
I can slackline because I have balance in my hips.
There you go.
Yeah, I did do some balance things. Ballet is actually really good for ice hockey. If you can skate on one foot, it does make you a better skater. And I would love to do more dance videos online, but they have to be as good as the one that went viral, or else I'm never going to do it again.
There it is.
You set your bar too high. That's the issue.
It's way too high. I did that like on some like Thursday afternoon. And I'm like, no, this is so dumb. I'm gonna get so much hate for this. 14 million. Like,
it's funny how that works.
Yeah, it is funny. And then you try, and then it doesn't do very good. And you're like, well, okay, all right. Post another video tomorrow, I guess.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to call that out and ask in front of everybody if you.
I thought you meant like perform. Like, I don't know, like acting or something.
No. Well, I mean, a performing art in which you have
performing art. Yeah. Jazz, I didn't really count that.
Jazz, ballet. That you've done it in front of an audience because it looks like you have. You know, at one point.
Yeah. So. My mom also lives vicariously through her children, and my younger sister is like totally that type, like on stage. Mm-hmm. So I think through that, and also just through like making fun of it a lot, I think somehow my facial expressions became really big over time. So I don't know, my eyebrows, I didn't know they could like do so many things. So yeah, you got it. You called it.
Cool. At least I knew I was right.
You're right.
I was even asking my wife, I'm like, does this look like training to you? And she's like, I don't. Sure. Like, okay.
Well, at least now you know, Dani, that Shy is like not only looking at your feet, he's like talking about you.
So can I expect like a payment via PayPal later, or?
So I think you've provided entertainment in like so many different ways. Like regardless, 14 million viral, whatever.
No one's paying attention to Lego content.
I just start doing pirouettes more often. Maybe more people be like, "Oh my God, is she a dancer, dude? I think she's performed before."
That's definitely professional.
Yeah, you, me, and Holly need to do a routine.
Okay. No, that would be really fun.
Yeah,
It would be
Shy's
really
just
fun.
like trying to live up his the high point in his life.
Shy, you look
The
like
high
you used
point
to
of
be
my
on the Jabberwockies.
I remember that dance video you released like a couple
dude,
years
that-
ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was a long time ago now.
Man,
Yeah,
still
I
still
can't
had the
move
moves.
remotely anywhere near
Slay.
like I used to.
Slay.
It's like, damn.
But speaking of like TikTok videos and short form content, you've like been killing it lately. Not lately,
Thank you.
this whole year. In anything short form and your YouTube as well. Any updates with all that? Because you've been really hyper focused on that and your content as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I have been trying to post a reel, a TikTok, and a YouTube shorts like almost every day. And I know that the three platforms can pretty much take any type of content and do okay. But I've noticed that they actually really want different kinds of content. So there's this really weird cross point that you kind of get to where it's like, do I want to just post the same thing on all three platforms and make it uniform, or do I want to like gear content specifically to that platform? Because what I found is that while there is some overlap on who watches on what, there's actually very different audiences that are looking for very different things. So it kind of sucks in one way because I would love to ride the viral train. Like Mr. B says, this is a day and age where you can post the same video on multiple platforms and go viral. And I was like, yeah, if your name starts with a Mr. and ends with a Beast. But if you're me, then it's almost more beneficial to actually create content for the platform. But it's not so bad because it's short. And short form content doesn't take that long to make. Not that it doesn't take any time at all. It's still tedious and you have to put time and energy and thought into it. But I think with Reels, it's like Reels really just wants a trending sound effect. And it's changing a little bit to like try to copy TikTok more because let's be real, TikTok is the thing that's made YouTube pivot and do something that like they were never meant to do, and made Instagram likewise do the same thing. But Reels really likes the sound effects, whereas TikTok's really leaning towards more like daily life, vlogs, and shorts is like still the most heavily focused on educational based entertainment, where you'll get like 9 out of 10 times, did you know that? Shower thoughts. Here's 5 facts that, and you just hear that over and over on shorts. And it's like, it's rooted in education and there's a layer of entertainment. So you got like 3 different types of content on 3 different channels. So there's a lot to break down there.
I think it's because like YouTube knows that the majority of its viewers are younger. And so they're like, okay, if we're going to be like funneling the short form content to a younger audience, let's at least maybe try to make it education based. And so they're like, let's pick out these words that may, I don't know. Do you think there's any?
I don't know.
Or you think it's?
I don't know about that because I know TikTok also has a majority of young viewers, like straight up young teens. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like demographic wise, if that's changing. I've just noticed that that's the kind of content that I see more often doing well on shorts. And you got to take this with a grain of salt too, because it's based on what I've been watching. YouTube is going to look at your watch history and it's going to give you stuff based on that. So yeah, it's probably biased a little bit. But what I've noticed as someone who takes in a lot of Lego content on all 3 platforms, it tends to be more educational based on YouTube, but still entertaining. TikTok is more a snippet into your daily life. I want the authentic you, not super highly edited. YouTube actually likes highly edited things. And Reels is like so hit or miss. So hit or miss.
Like if I like so random, let me just pick the right song at the right time.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like timing is probably the most important thing. There's so many funny skits of people making fun of Instagram Reels. Cause like, does it matter what time I post? Maybe. Does it matter what hashtags I use? It could. Should I be posting every day? Possibly. There's no answers. There's nothing.
So then what would you do for each one on like a
I try to
daily
get
basis?
so every day I probably spend at least 2 hours across Reels and TikTok watching and saving sound effects on Instagram. I try to save as many sound effects because that's the only way to justify my watch time on that platform, let's be real. TikTok is kind of a dumpster fire. I can easily fall into a spiral of very much unproductive content that has nothing to do with anything that I'm even trying to closely replicate. So sometimes though, watching, because you get so many more big content creators on TikTok nowadays, like it's like 19-1 people who have like 1 million plus followers on TikTok until you get like a TikTok that has 5 likes on it. You know what I'm saying? They do not push small channels like they used to. And so watching a lot of these other people.
I feel like Instagram is still doing that. Like I keep getting recommended. I don't even know how. Like I'll get recommended reels that have like 3 views and I don't know why. I don't know what I've clicked on. Like do that.
I noticed that on reels more too. Yeah. But TikTok, I feel like they are prioritizing larger content creators way more than they used to. Because I'm like, does every person on TikTok just have like 1 million followers or more? Because almost every time I click on their profile, they're like semi-famous. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, oh, they're a 2020 TikToker. They've been around. That's why they have so many followers. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot. So watching their content though is really good inspiration to see like what people are doing well. Because I feel like if you just stay within the Lego topic and Lego niche of like content that you're that you're viewing to try to like make your own content with, you're gonna miss out on like trend stacking, on bigger ideas, on how you can connect your content to the rest of the world, to a wider audience, which is where all this is leading. Is I want to connect to a larger audience of people that don't think about Lego every day like I do. So that's how I'm shifting.
So you're curating your content per platform, and you don't share most of your content over to others? Is that what you're saying?
I pick and choose. Okay. I pick and choose what content I share. It's not that I don't post the same video on all 3 platforms. I pick and choose what I do and kind of when I do. I almost had this weird stigma that if I posted the same video on all 3 platforms at the same time on the same day, that they would like communicate with each other and like everyone uses the word shadow ban, right? Like that, oh, you posted this on TikTok at the same time, tank. Not gonna, I'm nerfing your views. It's not gonna go viral. This is a great video that should have gone viral or something. But I don't like I said, there's no straight answers. It's very much intuition and how you feel, which is why it can be so difficult when something doesn't perform well and your intuition told you it was going to. But I do still cross post on cross platforms, but I do try to cater a little bit more towards what that platform wants. So
like for one of them, you'll like add the trending music, and another one, maybe you'll like, do an intro that's a little bit more education focused. And then the other one.
With the music too. I can't use the same music across platforms. So let me back up a little bit, because when it comes to actually creating something for any platform, this has been going a lot lately, that you shouldn't record it inside the app. You guys heard this? Because of the metadata?
I always edit the video on Final Cut and I change it up.
So when it comes to short form, I like doing it on my phone because like that's the whole point. I actually really dislike when people make content on their cameras to make TikToks, because it's like, it's so crisp, it's so clear. It's like, well, you're not a professional. This isn't authentic. You're taking this to your computer, editing it and creating content as like this whole structured thing. Whether that's what's happening or not, that's the vibe that it gives off. And although I would love to have 4K clear quality for all my short form content videos, it does come off differently to the viewer. But making it on your phone, as long as you're recording it on your actual phone camera and then using like CapCut or InShot or whatever, I mean, I suppose it's even better to use your actual computer to edit it, honestly. Like you can do way more in there. I get so frustrated editing on my phone, but I do still edit like most of my short form reels and TikToks on my phone, which I'll talk about YouTube Shorts here in just a second. But with that, I make sure that I have the raw video file. And then when I import it to say Reels, I'll use the Reels text to overlay it. And when I upload it to TikTok, I'll use the TikTok text, and I'll definitely use whatever sounds are available that are kind of similar so that it's more native to that platform.
Yeah.
So how successful that is, it's hard to say. Again, there's not like a clear answer, but I know that a lot of creators have been talking about metadata and where you're creating the content from. So like don't create it in the app, for example, which sucks because TikTok now has like a really decent like editor.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that like a week
The editing
ago.
within TikTok is by far the best across the 3 platforms. It's so infuriating because out of the 3, like TikTok was the one I was the most resistant about. I did not want to have TikTok. I still don't really want to have TikTok, but
Right,
you're just like missing out if you don't have it
well,
as a creator.
it's the metadata because they're like, you can't do cross-platform with, like, they'll know, like, it kind of like stains it or stamps it and via the metadata. But like, what if you were creating like a TikTok that was specifically for TikTok? You're like, you know what, I'm going to do this specifically for that. I don't think it's
Sometimes I
appropriate
do.
for either one. Then I feel like that makes sense. And isn't there almost like an advantage? Because like TikTok will be like, oh, they did it in our platform. We see the metadata. Let's encourage this person to use our interface and only our interface.
Yeah. And I will say I have done that. And the one way to kind of get around that, if you do decide later on that you want to put the video somewhere else, it's like, oh, wow, this did really well. Let's test. 'Cause I love testing. I'm like, this did so well on this platform. I'm really curious to see how it would do on another platform. You can just use like a no watermark downloader. That's the only workaround. But then still, I don't think it's really like erasing any of the metadata.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Yeah, but I mean, I guess in theory, you maybe could like repeat the video, like do it exactly the same again, and I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I think that's really fascinating. How much time do you spend, like, if you were to do a ratio, like watching to actually like producing? Because it's like, I know you kind of like tied it together. You're like, it was like 2 hours looking and downloading and whatever relative, like because I spent maybe like, this is what I found. I was like, you know what, this reel thing looks fun, or this TikTok thing looks fun. Like it seems like, because I was like totally not uploading videos, and I was like, this might be the best way to kind of like step my foot in, because I know it doesn't take as long as regular videos, but whatever, I still, and then I found myself watching for like excessive amounts of time. It's like really, like it was so hard to like kind of stop and be like, let's plan, let's actually like plan a film or a reel or something. And like, I don't feel like I even watched enough to like have a good understanding of it, because I don't inherently like, I kind of like tend to avoid them. But I'm curious, like how much time you're spending versus how much time you are producing.
Yeah, that's a little hard to say, because I do still take micro breaks where I flip open TikTok, Reels, whatever, and I'll go through 5 or 10, probably more like 25 or 10, right? And to do as like an actual break. So I'm not even factoring my leisure time. I'm talking about the time that I would intentionally spend on the apps to make sure that I'm informed about what's going on in terms of like social trends, cues, styles, techniques. What are people doing to grab your attention in that first 2 seconds, that first hook? Because here's an interesting little data point for you. Like, I posted a video recently that's actually quite funny, and the beginning of it, like, I used an audio effect, but there's no sound at the beginning of that audio effect. It takes like 2 seconds until there's a sound. And so many people clicked through it because they thought there was no audio. And it's like, even if it's a really good video, it's like, if you don't have something immediately that's just going to like grab people's attention.
Yeah.
So many people will just like come up to the camera and grab it, and the rest of the video is just them talking. And it's the most boring thing. But because they went like that, it grabs your attention, and it's a psychological trick. And that's what I find by watching this content. I pay attention to what grabs my attention, because even though I'm super weird and not like anybody else that I know that other people probably think these ways too. I hope.
Right. There's some videos that start with the end. Those ones get me. I'm like, oh dang.
Okay. Oh
yeah.
Really end and then yeah. I mean, it's a very easy thing to do. Just put
I try to loop videos when it comes to YouTube Shorts.
Looping works.
I intentionally try to loop every single YouTube Shorts that I make, and because I almost like put YouTube Shorts in a separate category from TikTok and Reels, because I still use my phone to actually record and edit some of those.
Yeah, those loops, they'll get you.
Yes, the ones that actually,
because like when they're so seamless.
That's how.
I was about to say.
That's how you get the 147% retention.
Yes, exactly.
I noticed that too. I was like, "What the hell? 112? How does a video get 112% retention?" It's because they don't leave. They just let it repeat.
Exactly.
So I'm like, oh.
And if you can like say something, it's funny. I've seen people like actually. I don't know if they intentionally say things incorrectly, but they do it to get people to comment. Man. And then because they're commenting, it goes through the video again. So not something I would suggest doing long term, or people are going to not watch you at all. But a little bit of controversy goes a long way.
Oh yeah.
So many times I've seen that.
I'll just say, so my videos are doing that are doing very well on TikTok. The ones that are the ones where show off how expensive they are and comparing them. And like the commentary on all of it is ridiculous. So like one of them's like my most viewed one is like comparing the AT, like which one would you buy, the AT-AT, a Brick Veteran Jet, or Black Falcon Army. Probably one of my worst recorded audio that I've ever done in my life because I was sick. But it's my highest performing thing just because of what it's doing, because it's so like, dude, you're spending $1,000 on all of that? That's ridiculous. And you just see all the comments that just continuously just go over and over and over again of people just trashing me or trashing each other for choices that have no relevance to it whatsoever.
Like they're not Lego. Like this is what happens when you get like out of the hobbyist, like our little micro niche, right? Because it's such an extreme. I remember like some of the first times I ever saw, I think I was like 23, and I saw like some of the makeup collections that some of the YouTubers had at the time, and there was a handful of them. This is a long time ago now. Like I'm gonna age myself, but I think everyone here knows how old I am. But like this was like maybe like 2012. No, earlier. This is like 2009. 2000.
Let's say one.
Which is like crazy to think. It's like that. That's like when I started watching YouTube, and I remember like being like very single. Like I was like kind of like one of the only ones. And I remember for a really long time, my friends who work in tech were always like, yeah, like it's usually like young dudes that watch YouTube and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like there's just like, the beauty community was so big at the time. But I remember seeing these like mass collections of stuff and being like, so like the shock and horror effect. And like, granted, now I have as much stuff as they do, and we have as much stuff in terms of Lego in the same vein. You know what I mean? Like this, just like rooms dedicated to it, furniture dedicated to it, and the like extreme reaction that you kind of feel when you see something like that. And I can only imagine what people think when they see the like price tags of some of these things, and like, or if like Dani or Shy, you guys like pan, the shelves behind you or whatever, like how people react to it if they're not used to seeing it. It's like, it's kind of like a shock and horror thing in a way, with like with just stuff, with just the sheer amount of quantity, which is, I think there's a lot of value there. And there's still the majority of people have no idea that this hobby that we have and the degree that we do it exists. So
that's what I have to remind myself of too, because like the saying I go back to is like the internet is insatiable. Just because you've run out of ideas for your small niche, that's why I think watching other big content creators is so valuable, because you realize like these people have no idea of this beautiful world that we live in, and we get to share that with them. And I think TikTok is a really good platform for that, because like Shai said, all these people just like, I can't believe you spent that much money in the comments. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a new person that I just introduced to like this collection hobby. Well, whatever kind of hobby. It's a collection hobby for some people, and it can be a lot of different types of hobbies. But I think
there's
TikTok.
There's so many collection hobbies. And I think like if you're the personality type who can like buy a lot of crap, you can easily be convinced into buying a lot of Lego, right? So like if you're buying a lot of tumblers or like Disney merch or cosmetics, or there's people, literally the Starbucks tumblers, there's people with walls of them. It's insane. And
Barbara.
Buying a lot of crap.
Sorry, I had to say that.
But do you know what I mean? Or like stationary collectors, like there's so much out there, like Funko Pops, shoes, like, or just there's so much. And it's like that same personality type, you can literally pick them up and drop them off in the Lego store and to come hang out with all of us. So
it's so true. Yeah.
I mean, in my head, I'm always like saying that TikTok's going to end in a couple years. So
yeah, what the heck is happening, right? I thought it was. I didn't even know it would last this long.
Well, I mean, it's all the controversy behind it, but we don't need to get into that. So, but it's good that like being able to diversify into multiple platforms and kind of seeing what TikTok did to their other two that we rather be on. At least for myself, I'd rather be on YouTube and Instagram than TikTok. And I do find myself on TikTok. Like I get in there and I just get mad. If I look at my stuff, so I don't even look at it. Like I watch other people's content. I don't really go there to digest anything that I want to remember. So I already say that I acknowledge that fact before going onto that platform. Whereas in like, Instagram or YouTube, like the things that come up, even if it's short form content, I do expect some form of like content in it that I want to remember as opposed to anything else. But it's good that like we're like these other two platforms are taking what's being mass produced and implementing it to themselves. So that leads to like YouTube shorts.
Yep.
So let's get into that a little bit. YouTube Shorts is about to get monetized like on February 1st, I think. If anyone here who's a creator hasn't like checked that little box on your YouTube creator, you best do so now before it goes forward. And I guess you have to start all over if it happens. I don't know. There's some weird stuff like that. So just make sure everyone does it. Yeah. So just make sure you click yes, I'm being monetized for Shorts as well. So looks like it's advantageous to do well on YouTube Shorts based on the monetary value that they're giving them. So with that being said, like you've done well on YouTube Shorts, right?
Yeah. It's been less than a year of actually posting YouTube Shorts, probably more so in the last like 6 to 8 months, I think is when I started. Oh, I can actually think over the summer, I specifically remember trying to make this video, and it's the one now that has like the most views out of all my YouTube Shorts, which is kind of funny because I remember coming up with it. And I was like, let me get into a hyper fixation on some weird topic that no one would care about and make it so entertaining, not entertaining, but like use enough sound effects to keep people watching and then loop it. This was the first loop that I ever did. And because it seamlessly looped, because you just use the tail end of the video in the beginning so that when it loops, you don't even see this cut, right? Seamless. And that one has like, I don't know what it's at now, like 8 million or something. And from that point, I was like, oh, snap. Like I can do that again. I have a formula. And did that a couple of times and then tried to figure out like, what else can I do on it? So I experimented a lot. And I kind of came back to a similar idea of like how I want to move forward with making YouTube Shorts because YouTube really thrives on consistency, which is both good and bad because you can exhaust a topic very quickly if you're not careful. And so you want to like find something that like find a format that you can use that has like endless content, but you can put it in that format. And if YouTube recognizes the format, or more so the audience, you can use the algorithm and the audience synonymously. So if the audience recognizes that format, then so long as the topic is relevant and it's not already so saturated, they haven't already heard it 1,000 times, they can digest it easily. So that's kind of the science behind it, I think. Now in terms of like conversion over to long form, I know YouTube's been saying like, oh, we're going to make it better. It's not been better. The subscribers are there. The viewers on the long form videos are not. So if you're trying to do shorts to gain viewers on long form videos, I don't think that's a good strategy. But if you're trying to do shorts to build up a channel audience awareness, trying to get your stuff out there in front of more people and really like providing some valuable content, which it's Lego. So, I mean, value, take that for what you will. But I think it can go a long way. So I've been telling everybody who says, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel about Lego. What should I do? I've been telling them make shorts because it's low risk, potentially low reward. And not to say that it wasn't monetized before. There was bonuses. And the first bonus that I got was more than I made in a month on YouTube. So like that was way better. I was making more on shorts than off of actual YouTube. And then starting February 1st, they're doing a profit sharing off of ad revenue. So we'll see what that actually turns out to be.
Yeah, what that means. Are they going to retroactively go and be like, these are your views that you have?
Probably not. No, why would they give more money to things? Like, I paid you for that already. Like, we're not going to show that again. I suppose if it's still in the feed and you're still getting views on it and ads are in between, then sure, you should be able to get ad revenue off of videos that are still currently being viewed, I would imagine.
So, but you've taken a lot from what you've learned on short. I mean, a lot of your videos now are very hyper, like beastie, which have been noted.
Yeah.
How are those performing for you? Like before the whole short push?
I have only posted 3 videos this year, which is way less than I ever posted in the past. And they've done better than all of my previous videos ever have done. So,
not to say they're bad or anything, they're entertaining to watch.
But it's totally different though, because you're talking about the potential reach. So if I was getting 2,000-3,000 views on videos before, those 2,000-3,000 people were really enjoying them, but there was such a smaller pool of people that would appeal to. Now the satisfaction may have been there, but the amount of people was just smaller. And I've had these conversations before where it's like, how big is the Lego audience on YouTube? What's the cap? So there's people out there, some pretty big channels now, but they're appealing to a much wider audience. I'm trying to keep my hands in frame. So I figured this was the determining factor. Do I sell out and go for the big audience and sacrifice the community? That was kind of the deciding factor. And I said, no, I don't want to sacrifice the community. I've built up a community for the last almost 2 years on YouTube where I have been able to consistently live stream twice a week for like the last 6 months. Like, how many live streams have I done in the last 6 months? It's insane. And like, the live stream audience is actually growing. And there's actually people that know me, care about me. They message me on Instagram. Like, I've built up legitimate relationships with people that I've actually never met in person before, but for some reason care about me online. And I don't want to lose that. And so the question of, do I start a second channel? How would I go about this? All this stuff came up and is like, ultimately, I don't want to sacrifice the community. When I go to a convention, I want to be tight with people. And I also want to I don't just want to only be tight with a few people and then have like all these like fans or something, but I want to have like multiple layers of like people that are engaging with the content, that are like in my audience groups, that are enjoying the content. And that goes from people who know me pretty well to people who, I saw one of your videos one time. That's cool. I don't want there to be such a gap. And so that's like something that no one's ever really done before in the Lego space, is trying to attack this daunting task of making stuff that's going to appeal to a larger audience and also have the community. Now I'll give you an example. So who's on trending every week? TD Bricks. Who's occasionally on trending? Sacred Bricks, right? Do you know them personally? Have they been to a convention? Do they live stream?
I think they're like 16. I think TD is like 20. So to be totally fair, yeah. I mean, no, we've talked a lot about this as well, and it's kind of like I have a hard time like supporting the community aspect part of it, because for a few reasons. Like, I think it is important to have that community, and whatever support it gives you, it's fantastic. I completely understand that. And like, Cali Brick Clique, we have a really great community as well. It's very small and it's very intimate. And like, when I go to conventions, like, people recognize me way more for Cali Brick Clique than they do like especially when I was uploading regularly. Like, now it's irrelevant, but that was something really special and really nice. But if you want to like do well, and if you want to like have a prolific career on this space, like, I think that there is nothing wrong in like doing what TD and whatever, and Sacred and, B3 and like what all those guys are doing. And it's fascinating to see this like super young generation that grew up on YouTube really having a comprehension and like pushing the boundaries. Cause I think for a long time we thought that like the Lego community was maxed out with M&R, right?
Right.
And I would say that he is that. He's like a slow growing YouTuber who will always have lines at Lego conventions, who his personality in his videos, that's really all right? It's like not a high edited like video format. And like, because of the content he does and the following he does, he has videos that do very well, and and they're consistent, right? He doesn't have like something tanks and it's like because it wasn't a Star Wars video or something like that. So I think he's done that to a degree, right? Granted, he doesn't have 1 million subscribers, but I think his and then there's like Jang, right? Who's like been around forever and like done this specific style and stuff, but like whose views don't they aren't relative to his subscriber count, and he's had to do all these gymnastics in terms of other channels to like stay having watchers. But I don't know, like, Danny, it's like those like what, maybe let's like think about your channel. Like, let's say you didn't do the shorts, like where do you think like your sub count would be, right? Maybe like 8,000 to 10,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
okay,
it'd be completely different,
which is fine. But like, and even the last 3 videos that you did, like, I was looking at them the other day, they're doing so well for a 10,000, let's say a 10,000 sub channel, like how you should be looking at it, right? Because it's like truly what you are, right? And like, kind of viewership. And it's like your personality is still in the video, right? You're still like walking around. It's still your face. It's still your name. It's still like your brand. Like I think TD's like honestly trying to do more of that. Like his last video where he's like
on camera more.
Exactly. It's like being on camera more. Like I think like I would just like give those guys a little bit of a break because they are like really young. So I think they were in like a transitional. I would guess that they were.
They couldn't show themselves for a long time.
Yeah, like I think like.
Well, that.
Yeah, and I think there's that format too. Also, like, I mean, I don't know what my personality was when I was 16. It wasn't that interesting. I certainly didn't feel confident enough to share it online. You know what I mean?
I didn't mean them also. I didn't mean them as like specific people, but more so the style of content because they're very topic based. And I was like, the topic based stuff is what appeals to a large audience. So not to say that like, oh my God, like they're not live streaming and like Sacred being like, yeah, he's literally 16. Like, no, these guys are doing great. But then it's like, yeah, are they going to be on camera? Exactly what you're saying. Like, is there more of a personality aspect to these topic related videos?
Yeah. And I think it can be because I think it's less about topic. I wouldn't even call it a topic. I think it's format. It's a formatted video. It's like, it's quick. There's less than, 3 to 4 seconds before there's like a visual and auditory change. There's, it has like the consistent thumbnail style of like simplicity and whatever, it's like, there's a very it's very regimented in terms of like the way that it's set up. Like really like TD Bricks, right? He's done videos that are on like different builds across the world versus like the so annoying like cursed Lego videos, which are just nothing. You know what I mean? Like they are just absolute crap. And like his are edited super well, so like who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I've got this one behind me who like knows every nook and cranny in history about Lego. He's like, no, they missed. They got that wrong. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Like no one watching cares.
The more things you get incorrectly, the more times you get people like Sans in the comments correcting you, which is engagement.
Engagement, yeah.
Exactly.
People like me. I'm one of those mega level dorks. So it's just like people stewing in their chairs. It's me and like Bricks are like, you kids.
Bricks are.
He's like closer in age to like TD than Bricks are, but
shut up.
Mentally,
the soul of a 40-year-old.
No, but I think I agree with you. I think that there's space for that, but also there's space for an infinite number of people to do that content where it's
totally
and like a better edited videos. I think the Lego community has been very, very piss poor and highly edited videos, like outside of the stop motion and outside of like, like the science-based videos. Like, I think like we've kind of been behind in terms of like, I think putting in a little bit more effort into the content.
Yeah. I know it takes a lot of effort to able to tell a story integrated with Lego. And like, also, I don't know of too many people that are not doing everything by themselves, where you're filming it, and whether you have somebody helping you with editing or not, still, I spend most of my time actually coming up with like how I'm going to, I could say scripting, but it's really like, how am I going to present this topic story? What am I doing? And really, how is it going to come across? Especially if it's a slightly new format, which like I've been working on all week, and I'm like, is this making sense? So
I like that you're thinking in memes now. That's really good. Like you're really training yourself in this like very particular demographic. But no, it's good. It's we watched like some of like Sacred Bricks' stuff today, and I was watching and I was like, there's like some of these references. It's like when you don't get the reference, you're like,
I'm old.
Or there's a media source. I know there's a media source that I don't pay attention to, and I think it's TikTok. I think it's like, because we're not on TikTok regularly, and I think you're missing out on this like big gap of like jokes and humor and stuff like that, and like maybe, we don't play, like he doesn't play video games regularly anymore. So I think there's also like a gap there, I think there's like, anyway, it's just fascinating. But, I feel like you're so much more exposed to these people because of like your family and your brother.
Yes.
And I think it's like
definitely because of my brother.
you have like an ear to that stuff, which is like, it's cool. Like, I just like,
Yeah.
that's awesome that you have that too, as like a resource. You know how you're like, most people are doing this alone. I'm editing, I'm doing this, but you've got like a research team like behind you.
Kinda. I mean, I don't intentionally do that, but you catch
Street
me
team.
on a Thursday night playing Mario Kart with a bunch of teenage boys up in the loft.
You're gonna hear the things they say like inherently, and they're gonna like, probably like what does that
That's
mean
true.
or something, and they'll tell you.
I know, that was the first time I heard W Riz, and I was like,
I was
what the heck
just
are you
thinking
talking
that. I
about?
was like,
I
W
have
Riz.
no idea what that means.
W Riz was that president? Was that Ritz Crackers? What the heck is W Riz? Then I heard it in context and I kind of understood. And I was like,
I got it. Okay.
Josh, you're white.
That's
What are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, that's really funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what you mentioned in your most recent, I guess the one, I don't remember which one it was, but the one where you ended the video and you were like, hey, this is what's coming in 2023. I'm full-time. This is my goal. Like, YouTube is the goal. So what made you decide that, and like why? And like, what are you thinking? Like, what are the
what are you thinking? You quit your job for YouTube?
No, I think it totally makes sense. You've been putting so much in, you're like, and you're really excited, and I could feel your excitement in the video, which was really fun to watch. And you're like, this is gonna be a great year. And I got really excited for you. I was like putting IKEA together, and I was like, yeah. So it was fun. It was really fun to watch that and like to feel that as well. Like,
oh, that's awesome to hear. I'm glad you got excited.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hope it like helped you put together your IKEA furniture faster or something.
It did. I was like, it's like when you listen to like dubstep or something, or like, or how
drop the baby ways. We're going full time.
Yes. Or no, it was just like it. But anyway, tell us more about it.
Yeah. So I had previously been working full time, and there was a lot of like options to like work remote. And so I was still working from home quite a bit, working full time. And because I started the channel, we're almost at 2 years, actually. Middle of March is when I uploaded my first video. I think I already unlisted it, so don't you dare try to go back and find it. And
that's a fun topic, though, is unlisting videos. But anyway, keep going.
I unlisted a lot recently because I was like, it's time. Play the Lion King music. It is time. And I was always so excited to come home from work or already be working from home and to close the work laptop and open the party laptop where I start making Lego videos. And I spent easily 20 hours a week making the YouTube videos that I was making a year and a half ago. And it was definitely something that I did with the prospect of how can I figure out how to do more of this? What do I need to do to get more involved in this? What are the opportunities? So I always had that mindset from the beginning. Like I always said, it would be so great if I could go full time, knowing full well that given the opportunity, I would do it. So I don't know if most people share that part of their backstory, because it's not like one day it just like dawned on me, hey, I want to do full time. Like most people, when they do something, they tell the story in this narrative as if like, oh, and then I just did it, without saying like how much experience led them to that position.
I think that's kind of a crock of pooey, because like I think a lot of people really have a hard time admitting that they want to do YouTube full time. I don't know why. I think it's maybe a generational thing. I think if it's like
try hard mentality.
Exactly, because it's like which is totally, you're actually like quite possibly doing yourself an injustice, because the way that you talk about what you want to do, the way that you approach what you want to do is exactly how it's going to come out, and it's going to manifest itself. And like, whatever belief that you have, that the way that you think is completely relative to that. So it's really cool that you have said that, and been like, this was always the goal, and like now is the time. Now is the opportunity to do it, essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now is the time. That's what I felt. I've always been a very not anxious in the sense of like, oh, I'm anxious, but anxious in the sense that I want to do something. I want to like work on something to the fullest and grow my own brand, whatever that may be. I've always felt like that. And so I definitely had the intention of wanting to take this full time, and the opportunity sort of came about when my full-time position was the company's growing a lot. So it's like, I say growing as in like present, it's still growing a lot. There's a lot of changes happening. And it kind of came to a point where it was like, hey, this would actually be, when you're locked into a full-time position and you feel like if you were to just quit, you'd really muck up the whole team. Well, it was like this weight was being lifted. Things were transitioning and changing. And I was kind of coming to a crossroads of where I felt about it personally. And so like there's some depth that we could dive into on a personal level about that. But basically it was like this huge moment of time where I was like, okay, I'm going to be able to transition from this full-time job and do this. And I say there was a big lift there because you got to think of family pressure, social pressures, what people are going to think, like how you're perceived and such. Like that's a big deal for me because I have a big family and I got to make sure my family's okay with Auntie Dani being a full-time YouTuber and not working like a 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean? There's some stigma. Mm-hmm. So that was like the hard part of it. But then actually being able to say like, hey, I'm going full-time. I did wait a little bit because there's like some things you need to figure out. Like, okay, now that I have more time to do this, I was already spending most of my mental time doing this, but now how do I manifest that into being more productive? What are people going to expect when I have more time to make videos? Are they going to expect higher quality? Are they going to expect more videos? What's going to change in terms of my audience? So I did wait a little bit, and I definitely had to figure out like monetization wise, how much time to spend on what versus the return, because I am in no way, shape, or form making enough money to be doing this full time. Let's say that. Okay. So if you're going to do this, you need to have savings. You need to have a significant other who's supporting you. I have said many times that I am living in the same domain as my parents. So my costs are low. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't just do this.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just do this when you've got a mortgage or kids or just rent and stuff. Like you got to really have your financial stuff figured out. So even with that, I have a couple of things that I do on the side that are also kind of fun that are very much within the realm of YouTube. So actually, kind of a little inside secret here. When I say I'm doing full-time YouTube, I'm actually working on a few YouTube channels that you'll never know about because I'm doing the voice for these other channels. It's nothing sketchy, so don't think that. I'm not doing YouTube. I'm providing the voice. I'm like you could say voice artist. I'm a vocal artist. So yeah, and that doesn't take up that much time, but doing voice acting is something that I just discovered recently. And I was like, it takes a lot of effort, but once you get a few clients rolling, you get some consistent work and it's just a nice little buffer. You're not making a whole lot again, but still another income source for maybe anybody out there who can stand the sound of their own voice enough to record it more than they have to already to make YouTube videos to be able to do that. So voice acting could be a small supplemental income. And then obviously I'm schlepping product on whatnot and stuff.
That's really interesting. That's such a like it makes sense. Like it seems like tangential to like, but it's also like, how can you get into that? Like, did someone approach you? I'm so curious. Or were you
voice
like,
acting?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, guys, my audience in my live streams said multiple times, because I'll put on these little shows where I'll like pull some different voice out of my butt and then like, I don't know, talk in that voice for a while and say things in a very presenty commentary way. And then they're like, oh my God, you should do voice acting. And I laughed at it for like 6 months. And then I looked up like how to do voice acting. And then I got on Upwork. And I looked on Upwork and I was like, all right, is this going to be like sketchy? Or are they going to want you to like read like X-rated material or something? And I was like, there's a ton of YouTube channels out there that need voice actors.
That's fascinating.
And it could be disproportionate between male and female, but I always try to say that's in my advantage because if they need a female, I have like the weirdest female voice out there. So it's definitely going to stick out. It's not great for commercials. It's not great for corporate, but for YouTube channels, I could do that. So
that is fun. That is
Maybe
so
a stepping
fun.
stone or something else. You
Yeah.
are already a performer, so
I'm already a dancer, performer. Disney, put me on. I'm going to be the next Amiga. I think that would be so cool to do a voice for an animated character. It's actually a dream of mine, so I'm trying to manifest it, but I'm cool with whatever happens.
Well, you're adding it to your resume at this point, so it's
Voice actor.
It's in a realm of like being able to obtain, I think.
I think it would be so cool.
So is that a part of the goal then now for 2023 to add to it? Is to voice
I'm
animated series?
Not thinking that's going to happen this year, but hey,
you never know.
You keep applying for things.
goal.
Backstage is a platform to apply for gigs. Sometimes they're in person, and I'm like, hey, I'm open to it. I got time. I'm on my own schedule, so yeah.
So what's it like being a full-time YouTuber?
It's perfect for me because right now is about my lunchtime, and I go to bed at 6 a.m. I wake up. Today I really slept in because it was raining, and the rain is my kryptonite. I cannot wake up when it's raining. So I woke up at 4.
Have you always is that like your preferred operating, or is that because you're doing this now?
Definitely later hours. I've never been on this schedule before. I did work a second shift a couple of years back, and I would go to work at 3 p.m. and then get off at 1 a.m. And I was like, this is easy. And I get a premium for working second shift. It was in between when I came back home from New York and all the COVID stuff. So I was just like, basically, I was like, I'll just help out at the factory because it's something to do. It's fun. And so I ended up doing that for like 8 months. And it was like super easy to be on that schedule. In fact, I loved it. So now that it's not summertime and we don't see the sun very often, I haven't seen the sun. I haven't seen the sun for months. And then I feel like I'm not really missing out on anything. So this week I told myself, like, you need to at least make sure you get outside and go for a walk because you haven't breathed fresh air since the new year. So I've been going for a walk, and then that's like the last hour of daylight. So it's dark. Nothing's going to distract me. There's no wake surfing to do. There's no games to play outside. There's nothing happening outside. So I can just focus. And then after midnight, most of the continental US is going night-night. So I am free to just not be pressured by the ticking wheel of society. And I could just do my thing. And then by the time that society wakes up and I can see the neighbors driving to work, I'm going to sleep, and I couldn't care because I'm too tired to care that society is going on. That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Podcast, and I don't want to butt in too much. I have lived that life for a while, and it gets lonely. I will accept that. I walked outside the other day in the morning after school. It was like 8 in the morning. I was up all night, and I saw people ready and going to school. I was like, wow, life is going on outside of my bedroom. This is
true.
Magical. Is that a school bus?
It kind of does reset you in a way, though, because I feel like by the time that the sun shines again here in Indiana, maybe in a few months, I'll be like so appreciative of it. I'll be like so ready to like wake up a little bit earlier. Like, I don't like waking up before 10 as is, and I've obviously had to my whole life, but if I really had a choice, I never would have woke up before the hour of 10. Like, I'm useless before 10 a.m. And I think that eventually my cycle will turn all the way around. I'm not sure which way it'll turn, but eventually.
It never does. You tell yourself that?
For the summer.
This is like my 6th year of doing this. The cycle never turns around. You just keep going to bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning and wake up at noon. You feel like crap the whole time. And like you wake up at 9 o'clock one day for an appointment. You're like, I am the best person alive. And then you wake up the next day at 4 in the afternoon. So
you must be doing something differently because I feel pretty good when I wake up. Okay. I think there might be consistency.
I'm happy for your happiness.
I feel great. And because I live with my family, like I mean, I could start to feel lonely, but then, my family is like just a few flights down.
Yeah.
So as long as I, go talk to them before 11 or 12, they're still awake. So I get my morning walk in at 5 p.m. I go talk to my parents for their dinner time, my breakfast time. And then sometimes I'll play some games with Dougie. Yeah. And then I'm like I'm set. I'm charged. I've had like my close relationship interactions, some time to like take care of my health, and I'm ready to like grind on the 9 scripts that I'm currently working on for my next month and a half of videos. I don't know. There was solar flares the other day. I don't know if any of you have crazy parents who watch Suspicious Observers on YouTube for 6 hours a week, but my mom is very in tune with what's going on with the sun. And there were sun flares.
Every 11 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Every what?
Doesn't that happen like every 11 years? The flares?
There's big ones, yes.
Yeah.
But then the kind of irregularly, there's flares throughout the year. And it totally changes the geomagnetic field on the earth. And me and my dad were like, yeah, I was feeling something on Tuesday for sure. Like he was waking up at 4 a.m. and I was coming downstairs at 4 a.m. to get a snack. And as soon as he's opening the door and sneaking out, and I'm sneaking down the stairs, I look over and he looks up, we're like, oh, it was the weirdest thing ever. We've never done that before. And I was like, Dad, what are you doing up? He's like, well, what are you doing up? I was like, well, I haven't gone to bed yet. Well, why aren't you in bed? Well, I'm just waking up. It's just.
I was gonna ask, like, your parents. I'm really curious. Like, do your parents know that this is like your schedule now? Like mine.
Oh yeah.
I used to have the schedule when I was like in school, like as much as I possibly could. Like I'd stay up really late, but you'd still have to like get up really early. Like I'm very much a natural night owl. I can easily do the schedule that you just said. And then like obviously when I was like really like work, like now I'm consulting, so I can still have like that weird schedule. It's still like my own hours and stuff. But man, I can go back to it. But like my dad was always like, he's like, you're wasting your life away. He was like, he would say like the world is happening around you and you have no consciousness of it. And it's totally true because you kind of exist in this like separate little bubble.
Totally.
And I remember reading somewhere, you know how like when you go out into the morning sun, it like feels really good. Apparently like morning sun vitamin D is like really good for your eyes. I don't know where I read that, but whatever it is.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah. I could totally see that, right? I was like, oh, that makes sense. I always feel so good when I'm outside. And so part of me is like, you should stay up even later, Dani, so you get that morning sun.
I'm not far off. I need to shift like another hour.
There you go. That's easier than doing the other way around where you're like actually waking up. So
yeah, because I had to get back on a regular schedule when we went to Disney World in November. Mm-hmm. And that was straight flip-flop. We were waking up at 7. I was like, I go to bed at 7. We're waking up at 7. We're walking all day. I was so exhausted. I fell asleep at 9 o'clock on the first night. And I had to because I was like in charge of everybody. It's the first time I was the oldest one on the trip ever. Okay, I guess I took the T-Falls to some Lego conventions, but like I'm still not used to this position of authority and power and responsibility of having to actually plan what we're going to do and make sure everyone eats. So and then we went on a snowboarding trip too, and that wasn't too bad because the boys were sleeping in quite a bit. So still I was like, having to revert these clock hours. And Sands, I will say that's when I started to feel kind of like crap too. So I'm not always feeling dandy, just to make Sands feel better a little bit. So
he hears you.
Yeah, I could see myself staying up for the sunlight. The only problem is there's just no sunshine right now. So I did stay up until it was light a few times. Mm-hmm. But it's just gray. It's gray.
I didn't realize Indiana gets so dark.
So bad. Like I remember this time last year, like February, March, April, I wanted to freaking die. I was physically being affected. Like I will say, I wouldn't be proud to admit this before, but I can own it now. I will say I am impacted by the weather. Mm-hmm. And this time last year, going all the way, we had a long winter all the way through April. Like it was physically making me ill. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My hair was falling out. Now it's beautiful and long because I take biotin and health supplements.
So goals for the year of YouTube. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go?
I want to make banger videos that are going to get a lot of views. And I want YouTube to stop disabling my G-dang comments on my shorts so that I can make that money off at the shorts. Like, give me a break, YouTube.
Why views? Comments? That's really interesting.
I've had 2 open cases back and forth, almost a third, but I deleted the video, so they're not going to review it. has 75 views in an hour. Yeah, that's totally typical. The census that I've come to is they think my voice sounds too young because whether I was in the video or not, it was the same reason. And it was, you're putting minors at risk. Do not put comments on your videos if minors are in your videos. And just to be clear, there were no minors in the videos. It was me. It was my voice and it was my face. And I've had, teenage boys in videos before on live streams. Those were never an issue. Never. It was only after October, November, when shorts were going viral, that YouTube disabled comments on my videos for the first time. And it's like right when I post it, it'll be like 30 seconds and they'll be disabled. And if you try to re-enable them, they disable them again within 5 minutes. And it happened on a couple long form videos, like this video that I have of alt builds, which I wasn't in at all. So I kind of understood that one. So many people have been like, why does this not have more views? I'm like, well, it should have, but it got nerfed. And a couple of the shorts. And I've seen what happens if I just I keep enabling it until finally YouTube doesn't care anymore. And I see what happens to the performance. Oddly enough, very few people have had this issue. And I'm like, what the heck? Like if I were a dude, I don't think I would be having this issue because my voice would be deeper and the algorithm would register it as an adult. But Sans doesn't agree. So I want to know what Sans thinks because I don't know what to do about this.
He's getting his own share of like YouTube issues though right now, and
you can't win.
Right, just right now.
Come here, Sans. Can you like talk closer?
Has it happened before?
Yeah, elaborate.
So he doesn't have like a really deep voice. So I don't know if he was talking about that or his own YouTube issues that he said. Do you want to come over?
I had it happen.
You have to come over so the audio is decent.
I need to know about this because I think other people are experiencing this, but it's not impacting them enough yet because they're not trying to make content every day.
I did have it happen to me one time briefly. I just contested it and it went through a few years ago, but there's not much you can really do. I mean, you can keep it, but until you're a bigger channel where you can actually communicate with them directly, maybe. I don't know.
That's what I thought.
Or try harassing them on Twitter. That's about all you can do is harass them on Twitter.
I could take that battle. I always say choose your battles because it takes emotional energy. And I was like, I feel sassy enough about this on my third attempt now trying to contact YouTube that I could throw a little flack their way on the Twitter space. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to realize.
The way that I'm just curious, like the way that it works as far as like the comments, it just immediately demonetizes it, or what does it do exactly? It just like
it disables comments. So the comment button is grayed out, and that's like fine. That's not too big of a big deal, right? But it will get no views.
Yeah, I have a bunch of videos that do that because of my kids.
See, I've never had the video that had any of the kids in it, and they never got censored. Essentially, they never did. And so it was like, wow, this feels like a direct attack because some videos finally started to perform better. And it's like, oh, this is an issue now. And then my favorite response when I ask the community, well, is your channel made for kids? Oh my God. The amount of times I've heard that. And that's just like the cherry on top. So no, my channel's not made for kids, actually. I like kids' toys.
90,000 views and I made $18 on it because they marked it false or invalid traffic. So give them the love.
What the heck?
Can you come elaborate a little bit?
No.
Please. You can't just say that and like.
At least if a video gets views, though, you'll have like a good chance of getting sponsorships, though, and I would see that as being a way bigger income source than YouTube ad revenue.
The issue is not. It's not the.
That is an issue as well.
He's worried about that, but I think when you get an invalid traffic warning, it's a direct attack on your AdSense, not on your YouTube channel. And it's coming from AdSense because essentially what happened is like, people were like botting views and then advertisers.
No, they didn't give us a reason. We're just assuming.
No, they're not giving reason. Let me talk. Let me talk.
Can we get context? Because it could be a little confusing what's happening.
So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to give you context. That's what I'm trying to do. Basically, a few years ago, a lot of advertisers were like, okay, we're paying YouTube for you to show our ads on videos, and YouTube makes money off of it. That's like their main source of income, right? And then basically people were botting their views, and so they were like increasing their views artificially. And then advertisers were like, this is messed up, I'm not going to pay for it, we're not going to sell our ads to YouTube. And so YouTube cracked down really hard on it, right? This was like, yeah. And so YouTube is like, okay, we need to like figure out a system within ourselves to like try to like prevent invalid views. So it's the list that they give you in their support is either like, you know, bots like this, like buying bots or buying views, encouraging your friends and your subscribers to click on the ads that are on your video, and then or watching it yourself and clicking on your own ads.
Not reels. Oh my gosh.
Ads.
No, the third option.
Shorts.
No, the album. Not albums. Geez, I'm running a blank. Sorry.
Playlist.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so basically if you like, those are the ways that they figure it out. And then when you sign your I'm okay with like YouTube's terms of service, what you're agreeing to as a publisher, as a creator, another word for creator is a publisher, what you're agreeing to is that you take ownership of the validity and the quality of the views on your own videos and your own ads. Even though as a YouTube creator, you have no control over what ads go on your video. You have no control of where they go on your video, really. But it is your responsibility to make sure that one, you don't bot your own ads, you don't get botted as like a joke or whatever. And so you can go in and like break down. Anyway, basically what happened is he got caught in some kind of like,
my video did so abnormally well that YouTube thinks I bought it.
And so if we go through, and maybe somebody did that to him, like who knows, but like if you go through, and usually when someone's like botted a video, you can see like one specific city that has like an exceptional number of views, like, and it's usually a city that's like not really associated with it. And we like broke down all his data and stuff, and he doesn't have anything like that. So we're trying to fight it. But the issue, just long story short, the issue is that they're like, if you keep doing this, you will have your Google AdSense eliminated, and your Google AdSense is tied to your social security number. You only get one Google AdSense account in your whole life, essentially. And that's it. Yeah. So that's, if you want to have a YouTube career, like on your own channel and your own AdSense, actually cut it short right then and there. And so that's what he's worried about, is the fact that like, and they could also, you know, de-escalate, or like they won't recommend his videos ever again. They won't, because it's like, they're not videos that they can put ads on. So it's kind of a bigger issue.
Wow. I had no knowledge of that. Great. Another thing to keep me up at night.
So
that's really crazy. I had no idea.
I was at like almost $60 on the video before they cut monetization off. And then for like a week of its life, they were recalibrating. And last night they dropped it down. So now it's only $18. They actually took money back.
So like his RPM is like 0.2, it's like 21 cents or something.
No, it's like 2 cents.
2 or something. It's really bad.
Sorry.
And it's really unfortunate because we went from like celebrating for like a day.
Yeah.
Excited.
It was such a good video. It does so well.
And then total disaster. It could be the end of his channel. And so, you know, it's when people say that like YouTube can be taken away from you any minute, you don't even have to have that. You know what I mean? Like it can truly be any minute. And I think and if you look up, like, does this happen? It certainly feels like it's not. It certainly feels like it's actually kind of hidden, like how to deal with it. You know what I mean? Basically, like YouTube has decided they can't control it, so therefore it's not their problem. Therefore, it's the problem of the publisher, and they have publishers a mile a minute. They have an endless resource of creators and publishers, but they don't have an endless resource of advertisers. So they have to prioritize the advertisers over the creators.
Yeah. It's the sad reality when it comes down to the numbers and profitability.
Yeah. It's hard. It's like a very hard reality, I think. But.
Yeah. Because that's what I'm like become very aware of. Anytime I hear people make complaints about like, these are the largest tech companies in the world, and yet they don't have people that can like answer your questions. I've heard the counter argument where it's like, they have this many people hired and they have this many inquiries coming in every single day. And if they were to actually address every single one, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, both of those arguments are like forgetting the whole like prioritization. Like if a case is to be escalated, that should be prioritized. So even if you have 1 million inquiries coming into your YouTube support team, if one is escalated, like wouldn't that at some point get addressed? Like because it's prioritized. But like that's the thing that I think is missing. Because I'm pretty sure every response I've ever gotten back from YouTube about comments has been an AI generated response. They're all exactly the same. They take a mix of the words that you use and kind of respond in the first sentence. There's not clear punctuation. It's a random weird name that you've never heard of before. So I'm like, I got sassy on this last one to see what would happen because I was like, oh, it's an AI experiment. Like maybe if I say something totally left hand, they will respond something different. No, same response. So I'm like, it's not even AI. It's just straight auto-generated.
Yeah, they have like I think it might be a person, but it's like I think it's like copy pasted from.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even have to be a person.
Yeah,
because there's no indication there that it's a person saying anything.
Yeah, I remember like when we were we like went through the Creator Studio chat and we were asking the questions and they're like, "Don't worry, your YouTube career isn't over." And I thought
like
there are
what does that mean? I don't know.
There are hurdles in life or something like that. It was like very esoteric and like it was
like AI straight up.
It was very weird and it was like we've already, there's like nothing how it's really unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate that then you're kind of just like out of luck.
Yeah. Not to say that either of our YouTube careers will be ended because of this, but it's very finicky. I know that there's kind of like spikes where, comments are getting disabled on a ton of stuff. And then it was like fine for 6 weeks. Nothing had any issues. Posted the content that I tried to post before again, and it went through without getting comments disabled and stuff. So at the end of the day, it's like, maybe it's good that it's not consistent because then at least you can get your content through. Now, I don't know what the case is for Sans and his channel and what's going to happen with that. Because again, this is the first time I've ever heard of anything like that.
Yeah, it's not very common. And because it's like he's had 2 videos that have kind of like skyrocketed. One wasn't monetized and this one he's been monetized. So we were wondering if maybe like they were just worried. I don't know. We'll see what happens. He's going to upload and keep uploading and we'll see. And like, you'll be able to, after 10, 20 videos, you'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
Like 5 actually, but
whatever. You know what I mean? Okay.
After some time.
Sorry, Sans.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Happy for you for that one. Oh, damn. What a downer.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. Anyway, good luck, Dani. I'm so happy that you are doing YouTube full time. I'm sorry. Anyway, we weren't trying to be like poo-pooing on your.
It's a good thing to know though, because you'll hear 9 out of 10 times about how all the positive things, and it's better to go in and being more informed for every content creator out there to know like what can actually happen, just to like have a little bit more awareness. Because the worst thing though is just being taken off guard. It's like, I didn't even know this was something that I should watch out for. Yeah. So it's like making
I've never
content.
heard of that before ever happened ever. So that's new.
He's heard of it, and like he's like
When I told Ryan, he had like a sigh of, oh no, someone I knew just died.
Wow.
Kind of how it feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's crazy. Yeah. I feel like people who have gone through this type of stuff die and have to come back to life in a sense. That may sound extreme, but like emotionally, it's it's tough.
Are you calling me the Jesus of the Lego space?
Oh my God, he's resurrected.
Oh, do I get a holiday now? Easter 2.0?
Wow.
December.
You already have a whole month.
It does feel like that. I mean, it feels like that even if, like if a content creator were to just quit,
Oh yeah, like when we've had different content creators like leave the space and stuff, it is really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're all connected somehow, and like we all know and understand the grind. So like when someone just disappears, when someone stops uploading, or something tragic like that, like not like actual reality tragic, but like just YouTube just completely taking it away from you, or a risk of, it's a scary thought because we all can feel for that,
Yeah.
Oh, Man. All right. Well, all the positive vibes for that. I'm sure. I'm sure they'll be fixed. Yeah. No, I've done the whole requesting my comments back for some videos because obviously my kids, and I understand why. So I don't fight it. I do see the tanking like promotion on those videos. It makes sense. But I mean, in the end of the day, I just all right, on to the next. There's really it's no.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, there's no point of like just really like being focused on that one video because you're now just wasting energy on something that can't be fixed immediately. And even if you were to get some traction and comments back, the performance on it is done because it didn't really. Yeah, it's
like
done.
You can still remove the video and repost it. I did that for one of mine. The comments still got disabled later on.
Yeah.
But for shorts, I've definitely tried reposting it later and they just went through for some reason. So like sometimes you can find a loophole if you're really adamant on getting it out. But I try to watch a lot of just kind of like tips and tricks videos for content creators and vidIQ. Is it vidIQ?
vidIQ
or Think Media?
Think Media. Both of them.
Those guys, yeah. And people who interview Mr. Beast and stuff. And so I think in one of those interviews, it might have even been Colin and Samir, they talked to, was it the CEO of YouTube? And he like stated you shouldn't only be relying on YouTube as your main platform to post content and make an income from. And so that kind of, again, brought validity to why I need to also have TikTok, Instagram. I've even considered Facebook, but I'm not ready to face the mob yet. But to have multiple platforms, because there is always that chance that YouTube is going to take away something from you that you felt like you should be able to have on the platform freely. Mm-hmm. And at the very least, if you can have another platform to be able to do literally anything on it, it's like, it's helpful. It's helpful because a lot of times when my YouTube Shorts videos, when that happened, I just posted on TikTok and at least scrap a few views from that. Maybe you'll get some conversions over the channel. Who knows? Who knows?
So it's like, do you consider YouTube like your main focus? Like, I want to succeed on YouTube more than anything else.
I want to succeed on YouTube more than anything else.
Wow. Well, I hope you obtain and accomplish your goals for 2023. Because hey, you're close to the play button. So
yeah, if I can get some of these shorts to shoot out, the subscribers from that come pretty quickly. So
and if you get that play button, you get that I can talk to someone on Google now.
Yeah, and the verification.
Get that check mark too.
Yeah, that's nice. I know. I feel like that would be a huge stepping stone if I can get to that. I'll say this year, but I'm like, of course I'm going to get it this year. Like I have to. So, but to say, that's my goal this year is to hit 100K. But I'm like, I have to. Of course I'm going to, because I'm trying to project that into reality.
Well, I think we got a lot into it. This was definitely a very insightful episode with Dani. So we appreciate you. Is there anything you want to plug or say as a closing word for the episode?
I think that a lot of stuff was discussed here. And as always, if people want to like talk to me personally, like I check all my DMs on Instagram, even the ones that I probably shouldn't and I have to delete later or something. But by all means, like I appreciate getting to actually like chat with people and stuff. So feel free to do that. And I don't need to really plug anything because I'm on these platforms daily. So if you want to see some of the stuff, just come check it out at any time. But that's it.
Cool. Well, with that being said, let's roll that music. Everyone have a good night. Peace. Wow. Thanks, Sans, for that downer.
That was like bomb. Yeah. But that's what happened. That's real life, though.